If you've invested in crypto, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or any other major altcoin over the course of 2025, all of those gains have now been given back. And when you take a look at the XRP chart on the very first day of the year, we are back to literally break even as of right now. And although nobody really wants to think about this in the crypto community, considering crypto offers far larger gains and outsized returns than most TradFi markets, at the end of the day, investing in the S&P 500 over the exact same period of time would have netted you a 14.28% return. In other words, this cycle and time are truly different, because what tends to be a very strong year for crypto markets has only been weak and lackluster, and Bitcoin again is back to break even for the year. This has left many people in the crypto community completely divided, because we recently had the spot ETF for XRP launch, and into that whale sold more than 200 million tokens, where another $27.4 million in shorts intensified the pressure. And you can imagine how many holders were waiting for that ETF to pump the price of the token and ultimately their bags. But that's not what's happened. If anything, since the day of the launch on November 13th, XRP is actually down almost 12% off of that daily high, and is now back down to a crucial support, which if it breaks down will likely take us to at least $1.95. And to make matters worse, not only is there a lot of infighting between Republicans, Trump, and Congress, but newly released emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate could be very damning for the current administration. Even if not all of it is true, which these days, let's be honest, it's very difficult to know what is true anymore. What we do know is that anything at this moment in time with this much weakness in the markets can cause investors to be even more skittish and sell their positions because of all of the uncertainty surrounding Trump, the Epstein emails, the fact that the US Treasury is going to settle another $300 billion plus of new debt tomorrow, and what that's going to mean for banks, which has led the New York Federal Reserve President John Williams to hold an impromptu closed-door discussion with Wall Street bank executives. So obviously things are getting very serious heading into that next meeting, and we do have a long time till that happens, which will likely cause a lot of volatility in the interim. So what exactly is going to happen for crypto, and more specifically XRP, over the upcoming week? What are some key catalysts that could drive the price upwards? Is all of this negative news or uncertainty going to drive the price lower? Well, we're going to be covering all of that in this video. And by the way, if you plan to retire by investing into crypto, one of the best ways that you could probably do that is through tax advantaged accounts like IRAs or Roth IRAs. In other words, get ahead of your retirement in a completely self-managed way, where the majority of cryptos that are offered are greater than virtually all other competitors. So go ahead and check this out.
Do you love crypto, but are you worried about taxes shrinking your retirement nest egg? Here's the deal. Trading and selling crypto can trigger capital gains taxes, eating into your wealth. A crypto IRA fixes that. Per IRS publication 590B, traditional IRA gains like those from crypto aren't taxed until distributed. That's why we've partnered with iTrust, a leading crypto IRA company in the USA, to sponsor today's video. And they offer institutional grade custody for retail clients that want to set up their crypto IRAs for retirement, leveraging top storage solutions like Fidelity, Wells Fargo, and Coinbase Prime to keep your assets secure. To get started, simply click the link in the description of this video, sign up for free, and fund your account with cash. They also offer 401k rollovers or crypto transfers, and you can trade 24/7 with just 1% transaction fees and no maintenance costs. As always, I'm not a CPA or financial advisor, so consult one for tax advice, and we do earn a commission if you sign up using our link below to fund your crypto IRA account, but that helps support value-based videos like this. And iTrust Capital already has over 200,000 crypto IRA accounts and over $14 billion in transactions, proving they're trusted by smart investors just like you. So click the link below, get started now by funding your account today, and let's create generational wealth together.
Hello and welcome back to the Bull Runners channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul and you can find me on Twitter or X at PauliDeFi, P-A-U-L-I-E-D-E-F-I. Now really quickly, I don't want to get political here, but at the end of the day, the markets are very dependent on certainty coming from the White House and Trump's every single move. So whether or not there's a lot of truth behind these or whether or not they're controlled opposition, it's really difficult to know and say. But at the end of the day, this does not play well for Donald Trump because apparently there are recently released Jeffrey Epstein emails that are making their rounds through Congress and now through social media, where there were a series of emails going from 2011 all the way into 2019 where Trump's name is mentioned. And now things are getting really nasty even inside of the Republican Party, where Marjorie Taylor Greene has been having a bit of a skiff with Donald Trump after she opposed his $14 billion Israel aid proposal and advocated for unsealing Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Now, we do have to remember it is slightly weird that this was one of Trump's major campaign promises, and he's been making good on lots of those so far, except for a major one, which everyone who has a good heart and isn't on the side of Jeffrey Epstein's of the world wants that client list released. But then when it came down to it, they're starting to hide it, saying there's really nothing there. It was only child pornography, but then how did they get a hold of it? And we shouldn't be releasing that. Who was actually involved with that pornography for children? And why all of a sudden is Trump doing a 180? And when you start to look at all of his donors and backers, whether or not he's on the list directly, which he does seem to have gone on the plane or to the island, whether or not he committed crimes against those kids, at the end of the day, his 180 flip makes people far more weary that he is being truthful, and everything just feels sketchy. So he started attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene. He then started trashing Marjorie Taylor Greene on social media. Then he trashed Thomas Massie and essentially anyone who has opposed his bills, calling them rhinos and not MAGA. However, this is all but securing the fact that it's unlikely the Republicans are now going to win the midterm. And because of all of the uncertainty alongside some major issues at the Fed, I do believe markets are likely continuing to sell off through the end of the year as we're already seeing major weakness. So I'm not going to go through all of these emails. Obviously, this is just news that I need to cover because it is extremely important for markets. And ultimately, I'd implore you to do your own homework and make your own decision about what to believe. But at the end of the way, the truth is the truth, and I do believe it will come to light at some point in time. Here's what we do know. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008 of procuring a child prostitution and soliciting, to which he then served time before his 2009 release. Donald Trump stated that he had cut off ties with Jeffrey Epstein and kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago before then, which might be true considering it would protect his image. He was hanging around this guy who's convicted of some very nasty crimes. But here's the crazy part, is that in these recently released emails, apparently Trump and Epstein spent Thanksgiving together in 2017. So at this point in time, it's going to be very difficult as the odds are stacked against Trump if this stuff is true. And the downfall of Trump in this current market environment will likely lead to a nasty sell-off in the markets, which would include crypto. However, you don't have to worry about the market going down because there are plenty of ways to profit in a down market. And arguably, it's easier to make money more quickly in a bear market because the dumps happen very rapidly. In other words, that added volatility is where you can make money if you're shorting the market with a bit of leverage. Now, I don't recommend a ton of leverage, but this is a way to take advantage of the upcoming months if we see more chop to the downside. And when you click that link below to check out Blowfin and create an account through our affiliate link, we might earn a small commission, but it helps us to fund value-based videos like this. And also, you can take advantage of their futures trading and fund the account through crypto or cash, or you can take advantage of copy trading, where essentially you can click anyone that is on this leaderboard and it'll copy their trades for you in an automated manner. So this is a really cool platform where you no longer need to worry about just buying and holding spot crypto into a potential bear market. So click on that link below to to check out Blowfin because apparently more cracks are here and it's starting to happen in the financial sector. We just talked about how the New York Fed chairman met with some banks to talk about some key risks and issues. And apparently the US Treasury is now settling between $285 to $325 billion of new debt tomorrow. In other words, there's going to be a huge reserve drain where debt settles. Banks must wire $300 billion to the Treasury's account, meaning cash is now going to leave the system as bank reserves are going to fall sharply. The repo market's going to feel it. Hedge funds are now at risk, and any one of these little cracks can continue to create for a very weak banking sector where risk on assets like Bitcoin, XRP, and crypto are going to continue to feel the most pain immediately. And the only reason we'd start to get a ton of QE or quantitative easing, essentially cash from the Fed, is when markets crash, not before then. What they're likely going to do is just continue to lower interest rates, and so they always do too little too late. And so I believe these are the major reasons right now why XRP is struggling to maintain its ground. And that's because it is another crypto in the crypto market. Contrary to many popular beliefs in that community, I've never seen an environment where if things are very spotty or whether there's a lot of weakness where XRP doesn't also tumble. It is not immune to the currents of the ocean. And so this is why we have to prepare. It doesn't mean you can't make money with XRP, but you might need to be looking at it from the perspective of 5 to 10 years out as an investment and still manage your portfolio well, because would you be willing to sit through another 50% downturn or a drawdown? And if that's the case, then perfect. Buy all the dips. But if that's not you, then maybe you're going to want to pay attention to some key levels, which is exactly what I'm going to cover right now. So let's head on over to the chart and see what we can find. So looking at the XRP chart, we put in an all-time high at about $3.66 right back here in July. Since that point in time, we've put in a series of lower highs, and once we broke down below 270, we remained below 270, which was a support, then became a resistance, and our touch high right here on October 26th, which was the high for Bitcoin and the all-time high for Bitcoin, which means up until this point right here, Bitcoin was relatively more strong to XRP. But since that point in time, XRP has been holding up slightly better than Bitcoin, whereas Bitcoin has down to new lows. XRP is back down to its prior low, just at $2.23 as of making this video. So when I actually pull the charts up against each other, you can see that both markets are down, both are highly correlated. One is currently holding up better, and I would argue it's probably because of the ETF, but not even the ETF on the 13th was enough to keep XRP up, which means I like to bet with the trend. The trend is your friend. Dow theory remains true for all markets, including XRP. And although yes, it's theoretical, I would say it's probably the most consistently proper theoretical approach to markets, in the same way that although gravity is theoretical, we all observe it constantly. And so this is one of those observations that I've made over the years. The fact that I want to be on the right side of the trend. And in this case right now, it is down. We've had a series of lower lows. We have a new lower high right here on November 11th, and it's likely we continue dumping even lower. The good news is XRP is only down 6%, while Bitcoin is down almost 14% since about October 11th. So yes, we're seeing a bit more buying, better diamond hands on XRP, but that doesn't lead me to believe that we can't go lower. As you can see, Bitcoin broke below its range lows right here with the orange line, whereas XRP is holding right up at its support. But if Bitcoin continues to break down and arguably below its current range of $93,000, then things could get pretty nasty, because our next range of support is somewhere right here at 86 down to 85, and a dump to 85,000 would likely take XRP at bare bones minimum right back down to $2, if not $1.90. So again, as I've stated in most of my videos, I would not be adding to risk if you're only spot buying. If you're trading it, then look for some key breakdowns right here at the $2.25 level. And if I were going to start to add to shorts seriously, I'd be looking at the 240 level. 235 to 240 is where I'd start to short XRP if we retrace through this week. And I do believe it's possible we start to retrace back up into this range before putting in a new lower low. And again, this is where you can make some serious money on the downside, because it's often said that in a bull market, Markets take the stairs up. It's slow, but it's progressive. In a bear market, the bottom falls out from under them and they take the elevator down. And that is it for the video, folks. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check out the channel and subscribe, and also head on over to altcoinpro.com if you want to succeed as a crypto investor in 15 minutes or less once per week by applying anything you would learn over here or applying any of our tools, altcoin picks, DeFi strategies, you name it. This is your one-stop shop to help you become a crypto millionaire. We can't guarantee any results, but if that's your goal, we can help you reach or achieve that goal in a reasonable manner. And if in 14 days you're not satisfied, be sure to ask for a refund. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.